All right, so page 179. Should be a little table there. And we filled some of these out similar. Now after a break, hopefully we can dust off some of the cobwebs. Maddie. So 1/4 is 0.25. Do you know what percent that is?
25%.
25%. Okay.
Jaden Schultz to the senior high office.
1% is 0.01. To get the fraction, we just need to say that decimal. How do you say that decimal?
1 over 100.
One what?
1 over 100.
100, yep. Your notes? No.
Okay.
2/5. Yes.
With the other 100, the 0.001 down further, like close to the bottom. Yeah, would that be like the same thing as the top one?
Well, it's different.
Yeah, so you add a 0, 1,000.
Yeah, it's 1,000. So
That one's 40. 0 decimal 40.
0 decimal 40 is correct. Move the decimal 2 spots to the left. 3/4, 0.75. Kira. Kira. It's only one Kira. 75%.
Maybe my middle
Asia.
What's your middle name?
60%, 0.6. Fraction. 6/10. And of course, we should always reduce, Landon. 6/10 reduces to
1/4?
not 1/4.
1/5?
3/5.
3/5. Divide by 2. 1/8 is 12.5%. What's 12.5% as a decimal, Emmett? So far, so good, Emmett. No.
12.5.
Yes. No.
Oh,
Until you threw the point in there. Move the decimal 2 spots to the left, right?
I said 1.
125. Next one we already did. We did that one super early for some reason, right, Maddie? Maddie, 50% as a decimal.
0.50.
Thanks, Maddie.
Yep.
What?
Wait, what? Maybe. They need a lean years for listening. I thought.
Maddie Landon just spent the 2 weeks not listening to anybody, so we gotta get him back on track.
Landon, don't you have ears?
All right.
Yeah, I got ears, but I spent half of the time staying up late playing video games. I didn't fall asleep.
So that affected your ears?
I went to bed at 11 last night.
All right. Lesson 9.
Why do we always do that?
Okay, divisibility rules and algebraic patterns. Again, I want this one in your binders with your notes. And then the next page comes out of the workbook, but again, I want that part of your notes. So there are rules to figure out if numbers divide in there easily other than just doing it longhand. Okay, so how do we know if a number is divisible by 2?
1.
I have no idea what that means.
1.
How do we know if a number is divisible by 2? 1!
Yeah, 1 times 2.
That's not what I'm asking.
What?
Dividing. How do we know if 2 goes into a number? So if I write down a number,
Four.
stop yelling out numbers. So if I write down a number, let's say it's this number.
Change it now.
How do I know if 2 goes in there?
5.
It has to be even.
What does?
The number.
How do I know if it's even?
2, 4, 6, 8.
The last digit, right?
2, 4, 6, 8. What do we appreciate?
All right.
Nothing.
So 2 goes in there if the last digit is divisible by 2. That's what the definition of even is.
Divisible?
Yep.
Did I say it right?
Divisible
No, man.
by 2.
Why don't they just say divide?
Last digit is divide by 2. Because that doesn't really make sense. Got that in your notes, Asia?
Yeah.
This is going to save you some time today.
Yeah, big time. Why do you say all the
Okay, again, the last digit. So that's what it's asking you. It wasn't asking you to randomly shout out numbers.
That was me.
yell random numbers.
All right, the rule for 3. I think I'll just tell you this one.
Sum.
The sum of the digits is divisible by 3.
Oh, 6.
Again, shouting out random numbers is making no sense at this point.
8. Asia, what did you just say?
All right, so Emmett, give me 4 numbers.
I'm gonna act like them for the rest of the day.
4,
Act like Ted Bundy.
6, 8. That's gonna be 5 numbers then if I put a 1 and a 0 there. 2. All right, so I want to know if 3 goes in there.
Yeah, it goes into 6.
Okay.
Got 2.
Now, guys, listen to the rule. The sum of the digits. Sum means I need to add these up. If 3 goes into that, when I add it up, 3 goes in there. But that's going to save you time than having to divide them all out. So 4 plus 6,
2. I know.
10
9.
plus 8. Landon, just stop right now, okay?
18.
Plus 2.
20.
So I add those up, I get 20. Does 3 go into 20?
Yes. 5 times.
No, it does not. 3 times 5 is 15.
It goes into it.
Does 3 go into 20 perfectly?
No.
It does not. So 3 does not go in there. So don't waste your time dividing it. Again, little tricks to help you. You add up the digits, the sum, you add them up. Okay, rule for 4. You just look at the last 2 digits. Last 2 digits are divisible by 4. So it doesn't matter anything else. You look at the last 2 digits. So I could have a number of 3,724. Okay, I want to know if 4 goes in there. So you look at the last 2 digits. Does 4 go in there, Maddie?
Yes.
4 goes into 24 6 times, right? So 4 goes in there. Rule for 5. How do we know if 5 goes in a number? Do you remember that one? Yep.
5 times 15.
Okay, not asking you for numbers, looking for rules.
Would it be sum the digits divisible by 5?
Nope.
It's the last digit
Last digit is
divided by 5.
a 0 or 5. That's how you know if 5 goes in there. The last digit is a 0 or 5. Rule for 6. If 2 and 3 both work, so it follows the top 2 rules, 6 goes in there as well. If it only works for one of them up here, 6 does not work. 9. Again, that's the sum of the digits again. Sum of the digits divisible by 9. And how do we know if 10 goes in a number? Ends in 0. All right, again, those rules are going to help save you some time here. All right, so let's look at the first one. Is 72 divisible by 3? Well, we could take 72 divided by 3. But now we have rules to help us with that. How do we know if 3 works? Let's look at the rule. Sum of the digits. So what's 7 plus 2? Does 3 go in there?
Yes.
That's not asking us for an answer. 114 divisible by 4. Well, what's the rule for 4? Last 2 digits are divisible by 4.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so let's look at the last 2 digits. 14. Does 4 go into 14 perfectly?
No. Goes into 12.
Goes into 12. Does not go into 14. The answer is no. Divisible by 9. Let's look at the rule for 9. The sum of the digits. 2 plus 3 plus 4.
That's a no.
What's 2 plus 3 plus 4?
9?
So does 9 go into 9?
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right, back page. That must be from one of these other problems here. Yep. Hold off on the back of that. We're going to do front of page 180. Then this is a work page for the back of that one. Use algebra to identify the different divisibility rules. So those rules we just wrote down, don't hide those at this point. Circle the numbers that work. Show your thinking. So which numbers does n divided by 2 work? So which ones will 2 go into? Well, what's the rule for 2? Remember? Last digit is divisible by 2. So does 2 go into 10? 11? 12? 13? 14? 15? 16? 17? 18? 19? 20? 22? Right, the even ones, obviously. Yeah, circle them. And they are obviously the even numbers. This is the divisibility rule for the number 2. All right, number 2, which ones work for 3 and 2?
12.
Okay, so let's look at 2 first of all. Which ones work for 2? So we're looking for the even ones. Which ones are even? 110, 112, 14, 16, 18, 20, 122. We can get rid of the other ones. Now I got to check the divisibility rule for 3 because it's got to work for both of them. So the ones that are now underlined, which ones does 3 go into? Remember the rule for 3. Sum of the digits divided by 3. So let's start with the first one. 1 plus 1 plus 0. Does 3 go into that? So that one's out. 1 plus 1 plus 2. Well, what's 1 plus 1 plus 2? 4. Does 3 go into 4? Okay, don't guess. You can add. 1 plus 1 plus 4.
Nope. No.
Landon, add up 1 plus 1 plus 4 for me.
6.
6. Does 3 go into 6? Yes. 1 plus 1 plus 6. What is that?
18.
3 does not go into 8. 1 plus 1 plus 8. Don't guess. What do you get when you add them? 1 plus 1 plus 8? 10. Does 3 go into 10? No. 1 plus 2 plus 0.
Yes.
What do you get when you add?
3.
Does 3 go into 3? Absolutely. 1 plus 2 plus 2. It's 5. Does not work. All right, so we just did the divisibility rule for? No. Which number?
3s. Or no.
2 and 3.
Oh, that'd be 6.
6. If 2 and 3 both work, we just did the divisibility rule for 6. Number 3, which ones work for n divided by 5? So we're looking for the divisibility rule for 5. What was the rule for 5 again?
Its last digit is 0 or 5.
Okay, that should be simple. Which one's last digits are 0 or 5? Should be 3 of them. Ends in 0 or 5. Again, those rules are going to make it a lot easier for you. What's that? Yeah, in your lesson. All right. On the back here, the last 2 questions we're going to talk about, notice 3 and 4 are crossed out. And then I got a little work page here, so you can have both of these kind of on your desk right now. First question. The car wash cleans between 50 and 70 cars a day. They charge $10 to wash, $12 to clean the inside. Regular customers get a free car wash every 20 car washes. On Wednesday, they cleaned 60 cars. On Thursday, they cleaned 20% more. How many cars did they clean? All right. So remember when we did proportions, a little review that the right side was always the percent. Remember what number went on the bottom on the right side? 100, because it's a percent. And what percent are we talking about here? Problem number 1. 20. Okay, and do I know the original amount of car washes that I did? How many cars I washed? Original goes on the bottom.
I don't know.
You do.
Oh,
First day was Wednesday. Tells me how many cars I washed.
50 and 70 cars per day.
Yes, but it gives me an exact number. A little further on there.
20%.
I already used the 20%. I'm looking for how many cars.
60 cars.
Yeah, it says on Wednesday I cleaned 60 cars. All right, so vertical or horizontal method here? Okay, so 20 to 100. Are we going up or down? So times 5. So I need to figure out what times 5 is 60. 12 is correct. All right, so that is how much my cars increased. Because I did more on Thursday. So if I washed 12 more cars, how many total did I wash? You just told me how many I did Wednesday. 12 more than what I did Wednesday.
72.
72. 60 plus 12. So your answer, you can go ahead and write it on that page. 72. 60 plus 12. All right, number 2, final question. Emmett, read it, please.
People who fly a lot get bonus miles that they can use to get free tickets and other kinds of upgrades. Mara Johnson flies a lot for business. She usually flies back and forth between Chicago and Dallas for business. Each trip is about 1,600 miles. Last year, Mara flew 50,000 miles for business. This year, she expected to increase her business travel by 20%. How many miles does she expect to go?
All right, so where's about 100 go again?
On the bottom.
On the bottom. What percent did we say? 20%. Okay, do you know the original amount of miles she flew
Yes, 50%.
50%?
50,000 miles.
50,000 miles. Again, we can do vertical again if you want. You did that last time. Times 5. So what times 5
10,000.
is 50,000?
10,000.
10,000. Okay, so again, that's my increase. So it went up 10,000 miles. Emmett, you read it. If I fly 50,000 and it goes up 10,000,
It increased.
that's a total of
60,000.
60,000.
Oh, that was
Don't forget to add them because it went up. It increased. All right, take a look at your assignment. Starting on page 364, tell which type of number is described by each of the following. So it's showing that 2 times a number here. Okay, what will I get? Will I get a prime number? Do you remember what prime means? Prime means that 1 in itself are the only numbers that go into it, like 3. 1 and 3 are the only ones that go into 3. So if I take a number times 2, will it be prime?
No.
If I take a number times 2, will I be able to divide it by 3?
Yes. No.
What's 2 times 4? Does 3 go into 8? Okay. Will I get an even number if I take a number times 2? Any number times 2. Yeah, so that one's already done. So again, using those rules to help you there. Use the rules again for activity 2. First one, which numbers are prime, which ones are divisible by 3. Again, use those rules. First one, again, prime numbers. 1 in itself are the only factors. Back page. Okay, this is just like we did, so set up those proportions. Percent out of 100 on the right side. Original amount on the bottom, and then you got to figure out if it goes up or down. Don't forget to add it to the original. Okay, so this first one, for instance, what is the percent?
50.
50%. What was it last year? 30. 30 tons. Vertical or horizontal here?
Vertical.
Okay, up or down?
Down.
So times 2? So what times 2 is 30, Kira? What times 2 is 30? 6 times 2 is 30?
Wait. Oh, 15.
15. Again, that is my increase. So what do I got to do to that number? So last year I had 30 tons of garbage. It's a 15-ton increase this year
So you add
for a total of
15 plus, it would be 45.
45 is correct. Don't forget to add it to the original. So the first one there is done for you. 2, 3, and 4 are going to be similar. Problem number 5, again, continuing to work on positive or negatives. Okay, so that is it for today. Assignment is page 364 to 366, and that will be due